SigTalks, episode 019, Consultation Calls, being coached by Sigafoose.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of SigTalks.
Hey, hold on a second, Carrie. I said 1 at the same time you started talking. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to let a long, dramatic pause in there. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome to SigTalks with your host, Dr. Carrie Sigafoose, your home for the chiropractic philosophy, where we discuss the teachings of Dr. James Sigafoose, from his writings to his talks and his many audio presentations.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of SigTalks. Today we're actually going to be speaking with my friend and the marketing guru, Chris Burfield from the Chiropractic Underground and Market with the Heart. Not only are we going to be hearing from an incredible man, but he's going to be talking about the new Sigafoose consultation call subscription service that we have started up. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let's hear what incredible thing he's helped us create. So, Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm sitting here watching the riots in Baltimore. So, but I'm safe and sound in my own home.
Yeah. Let's focus on positive energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's block that stuff out. Turn the TV off. Well, I wanted to tell everybody about the new subscription service. And I'm really, really excited about this because everyone that's listening to this right now is going to get access to, basically, I like to think of it as personal coaching from Dr. James Sigafoose himself on a weekly basis. You know, over the years, your dad recorded many of his consultation calls and his group coaching calls with his clients, and I think there were over 150. Is that right, Carrie?
It's somewhere. We think there might be more because you have in the Indiana Jones chest there some of the even older ones that go back before 2006.
That's right. Yeah, and they're all on cassette tape. So
we're going to get them. But now we have 112 of them ready to go.
Oh, sweet. So basically what we're doing is, we recently launched Sigafoose.com. Super successful launch. A lot of chiropractors were just so grateful and thankful that we revitalized the website the way we did and have now made Dr. Sigafoose's products available again for purchase. I know one doc in particular that I can think of, Carrie. I remember he emailed us and he was like, oh my God, he's like, I have been waiting for this for so long. So people were really excited about it. We did get a few emails from people that said, wow, it's like the stuff's great and I really want it, but like I can't necessarily afford it. So I don't like to think with a scarcity type of mindset. I really truly believe that if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to afford it. But with that being said,
exactly a consultation call about that.
Fantastic, right? So, but with that being said, I do understand, and my heart does go out to the chiropractors out there that are experiencing the struggle. You know what I mean? The struggle is real for some people out there. And I really believe, and I know you and I talked about this, that these consultation calls, these coaching calls that your dad had with his private clients could really, really benefit the profession in a really, really big way, especially those, out there struggling, but even more so the chiropractors that are seeing a lot of success. I mean, the stuff that he goes over in these calls is just a lot of really good headspace stuff.
Oh, I mean, everything from, abundance to office procedure to visualization to meditation to goal setting. I mean,
patient education. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't stop. I mean, there's years worth of information done on a weekly basis.
So what we decided to do is we decided to make these calls available on a subscription basis. It's month to month, and you get one Sigafoose consultation or coaching call per week. It's an incredible way to really start off your week. So let's say you sign up with a subscription. As soon as you sign up, you immediately get coaching call number 1. And you're going to get that. Plus, your dad also had the Sigafoose Systems Manual, which is actually, that manual is everything that you need to know and everything you need to do to grow a high volume practice and see high volume on a consistent basis. And Carrie, would you tell everybody, just take a second and tell everybody what's in that manual?
It's like a startup guide. I mean, if you have questions on what letters need to be sent out, even to say thank you, or birthday letters, or travel card questions, or first visit, second visit, third visit, fourth visit questions, on setting goals, on tracking number of patients, numbers of visits, it is all covered in this 204-page manual that I'm actually getting back tomorrow, Tuesday, the 28th. That has been totally re-edited, the graphics redone, the typing reset.
Awesome.
A little bird told me to use, what is it called? Helvetica?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Helvetica font.
Easy to read print. Yeah. So the graphics have been redone. So it's literally a new book. And if you have questions about how to grow, or how to open, or how to start, or how to revitalize a practice, this manual has it in it.
Yeah, and that manual, it's a $1,000 manual. I mean, that's what it's going to be offered for on the website if you just want to buy the manual. But when you sign up for the subscription service, you're going to get it for free as an added bonus to your subscription. So as soon as you sign up with the subscription, you get your first coaching call, and you get this $1,000 manual that's everything that you need to know how to do to grow a practice from A to Z. So now what'll happen after that is 1 week later, you're going to get an email that lets you know, hey, coaching call number 2, consultation call number 2 is now ready for you in your members area. So you'll just click the link, go log in, and now you'll have consultation calls 1 and 2 ready there for you to listen to. And then the 3rd week, again, you're going to get another email, and basically it'll be dripped to you over the course of your subscription. Every single week, you're going to get personally coached by Dr. James Sigafoose. Now, the most amazing thing about this is the price of this subscription service. We understand there are a lot of struggling chiropractors out there that could really benefit from this. So the price is $75 a month. That's it. Now that price will be going up in the near future. I think we discussed taking it to $125 or something like that. Carrie, do you recall?
After the first 100, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you say? Well, for the first 100 people, get it at $75?
Yep, and then it goes up.
So the first 100 people to sign up with the service, with the subscription service, get it for just $75 a month, and you're grandfathered in. And every week, so over the course of the year, you're going to get 52 personal coaching calls from Dr. James Sigafoose and his systems manual. So a lot of, like, pretty much everything he talks about in those coaching calls is in that manual. So you'll have that to refer to and reference throughout the year as well. And again, you know, you can cancel membership at any time, but gosh, I mean, who would want to? You know,
and
I mean,
today on SigTalks today, Chris and I are giving you one of the episodes so you know exactly what you're getting on a weekly basis after this talk right now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so just tune in and listen, and you'll hear the content, and you'll hear what you're going to get. And it's exactly what a lot of chiropractors need. So I'm excited for it, Carrie. I'm beyond thrilled that we can offer a service like this and help a lot of chiropractors in the process.
What if they want the consultation calls, but they don't want the subscription service?
Yeah, if they don't want the subscription service, you can actually purchase the consultation calls in blocks of 5 on the website. So you just go to the website. There's you'll see them on there. You click the button, and then you can write in the comments which which consultation calls you want. I want consultation calls 1 through 5. So you can let us know in the comments area as you're checking out. It's $249. It's $249 for 5 coaching calls. So if you just want to buy them in little blocks like that, you're more than welcome to.
And they don't get the book.
No, and you don't get the manual with it. You just get the calls.
Okay.
So, but at that, I mean, honestly, I know some chiropractors will do that, but man, you could get 3 months worth of Sigafoose coaching calls at that price. You know what I mean? But they will be available for individual purchase in blocks of 5.
Well, options are nice.
Yes, yeah, options are always nice. Like I said, I'm sure some chiropractors will actually do that, and more power to them.
Rehash the whole thing. It's $75 a month for 1 call every week. That's 112 weeks, but there will be more added, so it could go up to 150. 156 calls, so 3 years of worth of calls if you decide to stay with us the whole time, plus the Sigafoose Systems manual, or you can buy them in groups of 5. Correct?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I mean, that's doesn't get any easier than that. So, real quick, as when they sign up for the subscription, they'll be redirected to a members area to create a username and password, and they'll just get instant access. And then every week from there on out, they'll get personal coaching from Dr. James Sigafoose.
That's amazing. Well, what I would like for you to do, so between 1 and 100, pick a number.
I'm going to go with 51.
Okay, that's what I'm going to play for the folks after this. So,
oh, sweet. I like that.
Consultation call number 051 is to follow this. Thank you for coming on SigTalks yet again, and helping us to bring philosophy, bring chiropractic principle back into chiropractic.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. It's my pleasure.
And thanks for joining us again today. And here is Sigafoose.
Welcome to the weekly consultation call by Dr. James Sigafoose. For more great products, please visit us at sigafoose.com. And now, here's Dr. James Sigafoose.
All right. Well, what do you say we get started? May as well. One thing, I know that some people say, well, how come you're always talking about thinking? I want to tell you now that everything starts and ends with thought. Everything. So if you think right, things go right. If you think wrong, things go wrong. And that's the long and short of it. So, as you well know, we pressed on the fact at the gathering that you needed to think about things on a constructive way, and then we have to talk about them as though they already have happened, and then we have to act on it, whatever it is that we need to do. So, the point is that we need to have a single stream of thought, because we're all in the mind, and what we think into it is taken up and done unto us, because that's the law. You see, that's the universal law. What you think is what you get. And this means that as we think it, it's going to be done. And we can't think one way one day and change our thought the next and hope to get the desired results. Because we have to be very clear in our thought, sending out only such thoughts as we wish to see manifest in our situation. So here's something worth remembering. Unless we're working with people who think as we do, we'd better be working alone. Because one stream of thought, even though it may not be very powerful, will do more for us than many powerful streams that are in variance with each other. In other words, you cannot afford to be with a negative person who doesn't think like you. If you've got people in your office or associates or CAs or whomever that don't think like you, you're going to have to get rid of them, because nothing's going to work for you otherwise. And unless we're sure that we're working with people who harmonize, we'd be better to work by ourselves. And of course, we can't retire from business simply because people don't agree with us, but what we can do is keep our thoughts to ourselves. We don't have to leave this world in order to control our thought. But we do have to learn that we can stay right in the world, still think just what we want to think, regardless of what others are thinking. So one single stream of thought daily sent out into the creative mind is going to do wonders. So within a year, the person who practices will have completely changed his condition of life. So what I'm saying is, if you have the thought, one single stream of thought about your condition, your finances, your relationships, your practice in particular, and your health, then in a year's time you can completely change whatever's going on. And the way to practice this is daily to spend some time in thinking and in mentally seeing just what's wanted. See the thing just as it's wished, and then affirm it that this is now done. It's already a done deal. Everything is in past tense. So try to feel that what has been stated is the truth. And words and affirmations simply give shape to thought because they're not creative. Feeling is creative, and your emotions are creative. And the more feeling that's put into the word, the greater power it's going to have over the condition. So in doing this, we think of condition only as an effect, something that follows what we think. It can't help following our thought, because this is the way that all creation comes into expression. But it's a great help to realize mentally that at all times a great stream of thought and power is operating through us. It's constantly going out into mind where it's taken up and acted on. And our business is to keep that stream of thought just where we want it to be ready at any time to act when the impulses come for our action. And our action must never be negative, must always be affirmative, because we're dealing with something that can't fail. We have to realize that the power in itself is infinite and cannot fail. So we're setting in motion, in the absolute, a stream of thought that will never cease until it accomplishes its purpose. So try to feel this and be filled with a great joy as you feel that it's given to you, and use this great and only power. Keep the thought clear. Never worry about the way that things seem to be going, because we're not going by appearances. Remember that. We don't go by appearances, we go by faith. Faith is having the hope for something that we want, having the hope for something that we don't have any physical evidence of. But the way things look does not determine the way things are going. So let go of all the outer conditions when you're working in mind, because this is where things are made. The creation is going on, and it's now making something for us, good or bad. It's making something. This has to be believed. It's never believed before, because it must be known as the great reality. It must be felt as the only presence, because there isn't any other way to obtain. And we're talking about law now. We're not talking about hopes or theories or any of the above. So all the infinite may want to give you, we have to take. And as far as we're concerned, that taking is mental. Though people might laugh at this, even that doesn't matter. He laughs best who laughs last. Because we know in what we believe, and that's going to be sufficient. So what we need to do, to recap that, is to continue our stream of thought about the things we want, not about the things we don't want. We're going to talk about the things with emotion, man. Emotion with the joy and peace and happiness that we would have when we had it in the material end of things. But it's going to be there, and it's in the fourth dimension. We need to know that it's there. We need to act like it's there. We need to talk like it's there, and then we got to be there. And if we can do all that together, and you keep feeding that into universe, into the universal law, and the universal mind, then you're going to receive that which you are thinking. But please be sure that you're thinking about what you want and not about what you don't want, because people have a tendency to think and talk about all the stuff they don't want over and above the things that they do want. Many times people don't know what they want, so we went over some of that at the gathering. So if we can recognize the fact that man is pretty much buffeted by circumstances, so long as he believes himself to be the creature of outside conditions. But when he or she believes that he has a creative power and that he can command the hidden soil and the seeds of his being out of which circumstances grow, he then can become the rightful master of himself. And that circumstance grows out of thought. And every man knows who has for any length of time practiced self-control and self-purification that he will have noticed that the alteration in his circumstances has been in exact ratio with his altered mental condition. So true is this, that when a person earnestly applies himself to remedy the defects in his character and makes swift and marked progress, then he passes rapidly through a succession of vicissitudes. And the soul attracts that which it secretly harbors, and that which it loves, and also that which it fears. And it reaches the height of its cherished aspirations. It falls to the level of the unchastened desires and circumstances. And they are the means by which the soul receives its own. So every thought seed, grown or allowed to fall into the mind, and to take root there, produces its own, blossoming sooner or later into act, in bearing its own fruitage of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit. Bad thoughts bear bad fruit. That's as simple as falling off of a log. And it's just as simple as that. And the outer world, circumstance, shapes itself to the inner world of thought. And both pleasant and unpleasant external conditions are factors which make for the ultimate good of the individual. As the reaper of his own harvest, man learns both by suffering and bliss. Now, if you have, over your lifetime, or just within the period of time that we've been studying this stuff, working on this stuff, how your life has changed, how your practice has changed, how your income has changed, how your relationships have changed, that directly related to your thought process. I'm going to address the fact that Juan brought this up to me. I hope you don't mind this, Juan, but Juan was thinking about having a wreck. After his friend that he lent his bicycle to got killed in a wreck, apparently, then Juan was thinking about himself perhaps being in a wreck on a bicycle, and so he was. He ran into a dog, flipped over, broke his shoulder and ribs. I'm certain, just like my friend Will Tickle. Some of you knew Will, but I'll remind you, it's the father of James and Jeff Tickle. He was talking to me about dying 2 weeks before it happened. He wrote up his poem. He wrote up the song for his burial, his funeral. He wrote who he wanted to be there, which I was included. He had it all planned. You don't think about dying and then not die. You don't think about gaining something and not gain it. Whatever you think about and talk about and really focus on, brother, you're going to get. And if it's death, that's what it is. If it's an accident, that's what it is. If it's something good and beautiful, constructive, that's what it is. But I cannot stress to you. One of the fellows there, as a matter of fact, it was Gonzalo. I don't know if he's on the phone or not, but he ought to be. But he mentioned to me he could not believe. He said, I just can't believe how thinking directs what's going on in my life. He never understood that. And a lot of people don't. We just think randomly and think, oh, well, that doesn't make any difference. But it does make a difference because it's the exact way that you're going to get where you're supposed to be going or get away from it, either or, you see. So let me talk about the fact that so many people go to seminars. I got people that are on the systems that don't do a damn thing. I got people that come to gatherings that don't do anything. Now, I know, listen, I have gone to philosophy meetings since 1968 pretty steady. And I went to DE for years and years and years and years. And as a matter of fact, I'm going in October. And the percentage of people who listened to the people that were volume practitioners, who were talking about the philosophy, were talking about ways and means to change your life, the percentage of people that listened to that were maybe 100%. The percentage of people that did anything about it maybe was 2% or less. So I don't understand that. See, because hundreds of chiropractors attend seminars, read books that teach them, inspire them, and motivate them. They're going to listen to the greatest speakers of both live and on tape. They'll be given the tools and the wherewithal to be successful chiropractors. But unfortunately, a lot of them never walk into their office and just do it. Some never actually begin to practice for one reason or another. And often, these reasons are so minor that it's hard to believe they could be a hindrance. I've met young people who never got into chiropractic school because although they had a bachelor's degree, they didn't have the needed physics or the chemistry course. And for the sake of going back to school for 9 months and taking 8 credits, they forsook a career in chiropractic. Because it's impossible to convey to a person now and how worthwhile any sacrifice is to become a chiropractor unless they want to be one from the bottom of their heart. Because more than anything else in the world, if they want to be a chiropractor, they'll do whatever the hell they have to do that. I mentioned Betty, who's a young lady who worked for me. She was a mother of 4 children, single mother of 4 children. She loved the philosophy so much, and she used to go out. She would get me at least not less than 8 new people out of my waiting room a week. That's how strong she was. She said, I want to be a chiropractor. She packed up her 4 children, took off in a car, a dilapidated car at that, got down to Sherman and spent her 4 years at Sherman, and picked up some college while she was there, and she's now a practicing chiropractor. Now, I'll tell you, she struggled. It was very difficult for her, but she made it because she wanted it. And that's what you have to do, is want to increase your practice, want to increase your relations, want to increase your income, want to be a volume practitioner. Anybody can see 200 people a week. You know, a one-arm paper hanger can do 200 people a week. But we're talking about 500, 700, 1,000, 1,200, 15, 2,000, 2,500. Now we're cooking. See, it's mandatory, but it certainly is a good thing. And, you know, family responsibility, age, and finances and so on are not a deterrent for anybody who really wants to do it. I graduated back a few years ago with a man who was 63 years old when he started school. So, you know, perhaps even sadder is the person who completes his or her chiropractic education never even enters practice. Because some strange reason, the chiropractic profession has one of the highest percentage of people who graduate but never practice. I can find very few, if any, legitimate reasons for that kind of situation. And part of the problem is that a lot of chiropractic colleges are not preparing their students to be chiropractors. They're preparing them to be physicians and to enter a field which is already overcrowded and has many more qualified people in it, such as medical doctors and osteopaths. Some students, of course, enter chiropractic college wanting that and desiring to be a backdoor doctor, backdoor medical doctor. So the school provides them with the education rather than the education they need, because they're getting what they want versus what they need. And these people probably get what they deserve, because if students didn't want a pseudo-medical education, they'd stop attending these schools or demand that the schools teach different material. But there are so many students who, for no good reason, never get into practice. Attended chiropractic college with an older gentleman, although he doesn't seem older at that time. I forget how old I was, but I'm talking about the man is 63 years old, because he ended up being a very good student and worked in his business, commuted almost 2 hours every day with his daughter. And with all that effort, somebody would think he would have been anxious to get into practice, if for no other reason than to reward himself and his wife and his children for the sacrifices he made during that 3-year period. Yet I talked with him several years after graduation. He still had not entered practice, and he didn't have any good reason. He just hadn't made up his mind to do it. So one of the great hindrances to just doing it is technique. This profession, more than any other, is hung up on technique. We're technique crazy. And I'm not putting down the importance of technique or being good at whatever technique you use, but the fact is that technique makes little difference between great chiropractors, because being obsessed with a technique might very well detract from being a great chiropractor. Some chiropractors go from seminar to seminar trying to find the perfect technique, whatever that might be. And usually it's the one that will cure cancer or work on every low back pain or help every patient who comes into the office. And the fact is there's no such technique that's able to do any of those. Because all techniques work if they correct vertebral subluxations and if the intent is there. Because I'm inclined to think there are not too many differences among all of them. Because who cares whether you adjust only the atlas or the sacrum, or atlas first or sacrum first, or excuse me, whether you only adjust the fifth cervical, excuse me, or never adjust the fifth cervical. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Just get out there and do it. Put your hands on people, lots of people, start giving adjustments, and I'm inclined to think that practicing is the key to good technique, that doing it, whatever it is, day in, day out, on thousands of people is what will make you a great chiropractor. I used to watch the Honeymooners. I don't know if you all saw that over in your part of the country, but it was Art Carney and Jackie Gleason. And I remember the skits that Carney's character, Ed Norton, would shoot pool. He'd go through his redundant processes for so long. Prior to actually taking a shot, that Gleason or Ralph Cramden would scream in utter frustration and would take the shot. It was a good comedy, but I fear too many chiropractors are spending some of the most important years of their professional careers preparing to give the ultimate adjustment. Sadly, they usually realize in the end that all techniques are basically the same, no better, no worse, and that the magic bullet, the adjustment that they sought, doesn't exist. From there, they often turn to mixing. The other extreme is that they decide they have to justify their lengthy and usually expensive search for the ultimate technique, so that they decide on one. Then they extol its virtues and downplay all the others to the point of being obnoxious, unpleasant bores. And the only people who want to be around them are those people that practice the same technique, and little technique cliques form all over the profession with self-righteous, elitist, thinking people looking down their noses at anybody who doesn't practice like they do. And the profession doesn't need that anymore. And it doesn't need that anymore than it needs its mixers, you see, because it's possible to be so heavenly minded that you know earthly good. And I can recall chiropractors I've met who were some of the most dedicated, conscientious chiropractors in the world. However, some of them were so preoccupied with giving the most specific, most perfect adjustment that they barely see a dozen people a day. And thousands of people were missing out on their care. And I've taken writing courses and read numerous books on the subject of writing. And one of the concepts that's always brought home to the student is that if you want to be good at writing, just do it. And keep on doing it until you have something. And that holds true for playing the piano, painting, playing golf, hopscotch, picking your nose, or whatever you happen to be doing. And I realize that the truth is in the old adage that practice does not make perfect, it makes permanent. And however, there are enough successful hitting styles, many of which include anything but a classic stance or stroke, that there clearly must be wide attitudes and good hitting techniques in baseball. And the same holds true for painting, and I believe also in practicing chiropractic. So when it comes to developing good technique, I believe the best approach is just do it. And another hindrance to chiropractors really succeeding in practice is never utilizing the tools that they have. You see, some of us own tools like a chainsaw or a hammer or a crowbar or whatever. And some of that stuff has been in our garage for 20 years. And my father used it once, and my son-in-law used it a number of times, and I've never used it. In fact, I would go as far as to say I'm afraid of it. Because similarly, chiropractors go to seminars, get ideas, and never use them for fear of failure. Because they're afraid to try a new idea for fear it won't work. Because they're not as charismatic or outgoing as the person who tells them how to do it. They bounce from seminar to seminar, or worse, from one practice management consultant to another, always afraid to take the plunge. And they allot $100 to their advertising budget, fearful that it'll break them if they commit any more. Well, how do you get over the fear of failure? Just do it. Resign yourself to the idea that you will fail. You can make the Baseball Hall of Fame even though you fail. To get a base hit 7 out of 10 times, you have to go to bat. And we should be grateful for our mistakes. And all the great people, such as Thomas Edison, he 10,000 failures Edison had in developing the light bulb. It was a valuable lesson, because he found out 10,000 things that don't work. And if they gave out a prize for the most failures and mistakes in practice, and I'd win, because I failed for 8 years, man. I mean, I could tell you exactly how to fail almost to the period if you wanted to know. But I don't want to know. I want it out of my consciousness. I don't want to even think about that. And so, I've tried a lot of different ideas. It didn't work. But I'm grateful for the mistakes, because for every 5 ideas I tried that didn't work, one did. And for every 5 things that did work, one of them worked great. And I figured that if 1 out of 25 ideas works great, it behooves me to try to do as many possible to get through the other 24 and hit the big one. The thing that makes practice, and I don't know how many times I can stress this, but I might stress it every day for the rest of my life. The thing that builds your practice is education. The thing that builds your practice is knowing what you want. The thing that behooves your life and makes it better is knowing what you want and thinking about it and talking about it like you already have it and then acting on it no matter what the action says, and the hell with what other people think, say, or do, because they don't have anything to do with it. So if we can get that in our little heads, then we can go on and forge ahead, be the person we're supposed to be, do what we're supposed to be doing, act like we're supposed to be acting, talk like we're supposed to be talking. And it makes no difference what anyone else, whether it be your mother, father, brother, sister, husband, daughter, it don't make any difference what they say or think. It makes no difference whatsoever. So, I tell you this, that I have found a lot of direct mail brochures that didn't work. And a lot of them are, some of them are successful, very few. And I have gone through pamphlets that didn't work, newsletters, radio ads, dozens of talks, TV, then all that stuff didn't work. And we had to say, apparently, because it's just like BJ once said. He said, we never know how far-reaching something we might think, say, or do today is going to affect millions of lives tomorrow. But I do know that I had some talks where nobody showed up. And I had dinners, man, with them all preparing for all the people that are going to show up to the dinner, and 2 people showed up. Those I know were not successful. But for everything that failed, something succeeded. And it reminds me of the parable in the Bible of the sower. Some of the seeds sowed fell on rocky ground, some on thorny ground, some were choked out, but some fell on good ground and produced 100-fold. And in my case, the practice building procedures represent good and bad seed rather than good and bad soil. And the analogy still brings home the point. That which might be good advertising for one in a certain area doesn't work for another. These killer ads that are so popular over here, and I believe they are over there, guys that run them in Long Island don't get anything at all. People that are using them in central Pennsylvania are flooded with 35, 40, 50 new ones as soon as they run them. Same ad, same everything, except different locations. Because we've got different consciousness in various places on the planet, and so an ad which one person was unsuccessful might draw in dozens of people when placed by another chiropractor in some other place. So for everything that doesn't work, something else does, and so I just keep on trying, just like you should. I'll continue to try ideas that might fail till the day I die. But because of the process of failing, I'll stumble across something that really works good, that attracts people to chiropractic who can receive the benefits it brings them. And I hope that I have more failures than any other chiropractor in history, because that would mean I was trying harder, I was working harder, I was out there at the point, I was willing to take the bullet, I was doing more than anyone else was doing for our profession. And I hope I have and have the understanding it's going to mean that I tried more ideas than anybody else. And among those failures are going to be a few successes. And as a result of those few successes, I'm going to be more successful. But more important, hundreds, maybe thousands of people are going to experience a more productive life. And that's what the system is all about. That's what the gathering is all about. For chiropractors to have a more productive life, a better life, more abundant life, and enjoy this thing instead of struggling and fighting with it. And the bottom line is that there are millions of people out there who need chiropractic. And there are thousands of ways to get that message across to those people. And every seminar, every speaker, every practice building idea is going to give you some tool to get the message across. Just having the means, while important, is not enough. There has to be a commitment to go into your office, forget everything else, and just do it. And that's the long and short. I had a phone call today. Now, I have several phone calls today, actually, but this one in particular was a young man who's out in California who, for some reason or other, thought he should never adjust Mexican people, that they would offend any white people, any Caucasian people that he happened to have. And we talked about that, and I said, no, Ray, you got to listen. Mexican people have spines. And Mexican people are generally very, very family-oriented and very loyal to one another. And you're missing a boat. You need to reach those people, because they are very loving people. And he said, well, okay, I'll give it a try. I said, no, giving it a try won't work. You got to go out there and plain do it, just like we talking about. Just do it. So he went out and he did a swap meet, and this is where people have tables and they got all their junk on these tables, and folks are selling that stuff. And they're literally all Mexican folks. Well, he went out there and he ended up, I believe, if I recall correctly, he had 25 new people come in to his office, and he charged them, I think, with $5 or $10 to screen them on the spot. Now, these are the people he said don't have any money. He don't want them because they never commit. They don't do anything. Yesterday, he had 17 new ones. Just yesterday. He said they come in, and what they do is they bring the rest of their family. They say, well, here's my brother-in-law, here's my sister-in-law, here's her brother and sister. They like to come in and get checked. Well, that's not a bad deal, is it? And then he keeps trying to play doctor. Oh, he wants to be the doctor, examine, do this, do that, do those. And I frankly told him, quit playing doctor and become a chiropractor.
Yeah.
All you need to do is x-ray people. You need to check their spine. You need to give them a talk, telling them what you do and what you don't do. You got to give them a report of findings, and that's it. That doesn't take all day. You can do your talk in 15 or 20 minutes. You do a report of findings in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then that's it. And then as they progress, you're going to continue re-examine and re-x-ray. Yeah, when I take re-x-ray, it takes me time to do that. And I said, that's because you're playing doctor. All you got to do is re-x-ray the person or re-examine the person and compare one thing with the other. Hey, you're doing great, let's cut you back, or you're not doing as good as I had hoped, so let's keep you on the same program till we get changes. That's not hard to do. That can be done in a matter of minutes. It certainly doesn't take a long period of time. But the one thing that we don't do enough of, and I can guarantee you this, first of all, we don't educate our people enough. We don't educate them more than once or twice. We need to have DVDs in our office. We need to talk to the people before we even start with them, or sometime within the first 2 or 3 visits. We need to talk to our people in another 6 to 8 weeks after that, and then we need to talk to our people again every couple months after that, raising the bar each time. So giving them more information, more in-depth information. So from beginning with a bone squeezing on the brainstem, shutting life off in the body is your entire problem, and we got to fix that. We got to correct that. It's going to take X amount of times. I don't know how many. We'll run a post-check. We'll see how you're doing. If you're doing better, we'll cut back. If you're not, we'll stay the way we are, period. That's it. That's the report of findings. Now, the next meeting we have, well, we might repeat that same thing because they didn't get it the first time. And then the next meeting we have, we'll go in a little deeper. We'll talk more about innate. We'll talk about the principle of chiropractic. We'll talk about innate, where it is, how it is, why it works. We'll talk about ultimately then maybe another month or so, we'll talk about the bottom line is getting the spirit of man, which is life within you, the inner man, permeating and connecting to the flesh so that we have uniting man the physical and man the spiritual. And we need to talk about that. And we can graduate and get our people more and more educated. But you can't do it in one talk. You can't do it. If you do an hour and a half or 2 hour talk, you already lost those people after the first 15 minutes anyway, sitting here, damn thing you said. But on the other hand, if you do it in increments, do it in little glassfuls, if a fella's dying of thirst, you don't give him 4 gallons of water all at once and kill him. You give him little sips of water until finally he was getting more and more hydrated and more capable of holding that water, and then he would survive. That's the same way with our people. Don't try to shove it down their throat all at once. Be able to give it to them in increments, and be sure you do it with love, consternation, peace, joy, happiness. They deserve to know what innate is. They deserve to know what you do and what you don't do. And they deserve to know why an adjustment works, sometimes why it doesn't work. They need to know that as well. And I'm not trying to make chiropractors out of them. I'm trying to make them educated so that they can come in, refer, bring in their families, stay with us long enough to get the job done, and be more than happy to pay for it. That's all. That's all we're really looking for. And they understand that. But I've had people go with other guys, other so-called, whatever you call them, consultants, I guess you call them, 15 of which were trained under me, 15 people that call themselves consultants, trained under me here in the United States. And a lot of people were saying, well, you want to sign them up for 1 year. 1 year. Well, here's a person in there, he or she is in there for about 15 minutes, answering a few dumb questions. And all of a sudden they say, all right, now I want you to, our fee is X amount of dollars a year. I would like you to come in for 1 year's care, blah, 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 blah. Well, they don't even know you. They don't trust you. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're doing yet. How are they going to sign up for a year? If that was me, man, I would break my ankle running out of there. I wouldn't sit in there and listen to that crap. You got to teach me something first. Make me aware of who you are and what you are. You got to allow me to trust you. You got to allow me to know what I'm even going to get a year's care for what? Oh, I got a little crick in my back. Yeah, sure, I had a heart attack. Yeah, my right hand is numb. What's that got to do with what you do? Well, they don't have a clue. Well, when are you going to tell them? When are they going to realize? When are they going to find out what we do and what we don't do? And who's going to tell them if you don't? And it's a matter of being conscious of it and conscientious about it. And it's a matter of doing it, once again, in increments so that ultimately they really learn what's going on. I mentioned this to you before. I'll mention it again because it impressed me deeply. That Herb Reaver was 94 years old when he passed on the other side. The day before he died, he was adjusting people. Still didn't have a license. and they locked him up 27 times, I believe, for practicing medicine without a license. He said, I'm not practicing medicine, I'm practicing chiropractic, and I'm not going to take a medical exam, which is what it was in Ohio. And so he went, and he lived up to 94 years old, still practicing, still didn't have a license. And when he was asked by a group of students why a man 94 years old, or maybe 93 at that time, would still be as excited as he appears to be and desirous of practicing chiropractic, he said, because I have the opportunity to teach people about innate. I thought that was highly impressive, because I like to know how many chiropractors teach people about innate. How many chiropractors teach people the purpose of adjusting people is not to get rid of cricks, backaches, and strain, or treat symptoms or treat conditions, but to let the body increase in its potentiality so it becomes healthier. Health is what we're after. Higher function of body, higher function of tissue cells, higher function of organs, higher function of an entire organism. That's what we're after by adjusting the spine. It's as simple as that. People need to know that, but they don't. I know some of you are teaching that. I know Juan is. I'm sure that Marco is. I'm sure that Serge is. I'm sure a lot of chiropractors are there, because it shows that because your body is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually it shows that you're doing what's right. But there's some, like I said, that just won't do it, and there's nothing much we can do about that. We can just put, it's like putting water out to a person who's dying of thirst. If he takes a couple of sips and drinks it, he'll survive. If he doesn't drink the water, he's going to die. Well, that's how it is. You can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do, I don't reckon. But I know for a fact that what we teach works. I don't have any doubt about that. I worked it myself and for years, and we did very well. I teach people that, and the people that listen and do what they're supposed to do very well, not just in Europe, but in the United States and in Australia and New Zealand. So I will say that because you don't have insurance and don't have to deal with all that nonsensical stuff, that you haven't gotten into the trap that you're working actually for the insurance company, that you do better than the people in the United States. And really, I think you do better than the people in Australia, because you have a better brotherhood, for one thing, and you're more principled chiropractors and more philosophically sound chiropractors in Spain in particular, and the people that are on, such as Zolt and Marcus, that are in different countries but are in the group, in the clan. So you got a wonderful thing going, and this is a great profession that we have, and we're all geniuses, and we all are capable of a great deal of abundance, and we're all quite able to have a volume of practice and see many, many, many people who don't have health regain their health. And that's our job, that's our mission. So y'all keep the faith, because I'm going to jump off of here right now. And I'll be talking to you next Tuesday. And then if you have anything you want to call me about, you call me. You know what my number is. And or email me. And hopefully you know what that is. So I'll be happy to respond if I hear from you. Otherwise, I'll see you on, talk to you next Tuesday. So good night, my friends. I love you, bugs. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your subscription, and thank you for listening to this week's consultation call by Dr. James Sigafoose. For more products and information, visit us at Sigafoose.com.